right. How do we start this again?
I don't know.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Podcast with Nick and Marty. Wow, that felt weird saying it.
It did, dude. Last time you said that, you weren't even a dad, and neither was I.
Bro, a lot has changed.
Yeah.
Let me check the last time we uploaded. Hold on a second.
Yeah, was your girl even pregnant at that time?
Nah, bro. Like, this was so long ago. Bro, it's 2022. March of 2022 was that our last episode. March 16th. That we dropped.
Wow.
It's been, what, 3 years?
Wow.
It's been over 3 years. Crazy, bro.
Wow, dude.
What's new since then?
You know, having children. Procreating.
That's all our life is now.
That is.
Taking care of our child.
Yeah, it's funny.
Not our child, but
right.
My child and your child.
Dude, don't make it weird, man. We're 5 minutes not even into this podcast.
Sorry, I'm not used to this.
It's crazy that nowadays we relate so much to dad parent content. And I remember thinking certain things before having a child, like, oh, I would never do that when I have a child, or my child would never do such a thing. And then now I'm like, I understand why those parents, like, you have a screaming toddler in an airplane. There's not much you can do about it. Like, you can try your best to get them to stop crying, but if your toddler is in that mode, there's not much you can do about it.
Yeah, I used to judge a lot of parents too before having a kid. Even like people that bring their kids to a restaurant with an iPad, like I'll be like, what the hell are you thinking? Like, what? That's so stupid. And now, like, I completely understand, bro. Not that I do it all the time, but, like, there's moments where she's not letting us eat, you know? Like, that we have to keep constantly, like, entertaining her. And, bro, like, sometimes you just can't do it. Like, no, I need to eat. You need to eat. We all need to eat. So we're never going to eat if she keeps, you know, jumping around and stuff. And, like, not being able to sit still.
Yeah, I think me and my girl had came to a conscious conclusion that we shouldn't be eating out with a toddler unless somebody's babysitting and it's just me and her. And then, of course, you know, over time, you kind of forget those things and you decide to try it anyways. Like, we went out to eat for Father's Day. Did me and her sit down at the same table and eat during Father's Day? No, because our little boy was wilding out. So I would have to walk him outside for like 5 minutes and then we switch. She walks him for 5 minutes. I stuff my face and then we switch again. And then that's how we do it. Cause it's when he allows us, it's great. But most of the time he doesn't allow us. He's hyper. If he doesn't want to eat, then you're screwed because you have to entertain him. And the main form of entertainment at a restaurant is eating food, you know? So yeah.
And you guys, like, don't do any screen time? Is that why you have to walk him outside?
Yeah, we don't let him. I mean, the only time that we give him screen time is when he's eating dinner. We allow him to watch Blippi, which is the super popular kids show for all these non-parents out there. And I like Blippi because Blippi, compared to other forms of content for children, is not fast-paced. It's one shot, and it's Blippi explaining something and talking about something. It's not anything that's like crazy dopamine hit to their mind. Like CoComelon, they literally study this stuff where they do cuts every 3 to 5 seconds. So what I've read from CoComelon is that after they finish an episode, they get a group of like 3 to 5 toddlers, put them in front of a TV, and every time the toddler looks away, they mark that down. And so they know that they have to do something to adjust at that moment in time. Think about that. They're literally making it addicting for the child. Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. What the hell?
So
That's insane.
does your daughter watch Cocomelon?
No, we heard about that same story where it's like too stimulating for them, so we
Mm-hmm.
blocked that channel from even like getting suggested.
Right.
But Lily definitely knows how to operate YouTube, bro. She watches a lot of stuff, and we have to like stay vigilant because sometimes she's watching stuff that is like insanely ridiculous, like just like people throwing tantrums, screaming, like big adults, like grown-ups and shit, throwing tantrums, like acting like a kid. And I don't know, not just not giving a good example of how she should act.
Right.
And I don't know, there's a lot of crap too. Like sometimes she like runs across like a video that's like, another language, and I don't know, I just don't want to confuse her even more. So we have to like stay super aware of what she's watching because
Right.
there's a lot of crap out there. And she knows
Yeah,
how to
dude.
navigate YouTube Kids pretty well.
Yeah, dude. We're having a in family situation where um one of the younglings in my family got a girlfriend, and he's young. He's about 8 years old. And he decided to tell me, besides his dad and everybody else in the family, he chose to tell me. So it's a big responsibility on me, but also I have to realize that he felt comfortable to tell me. So I can't make it seem like I'm judging him and trying to find out all this information to keep him safe. I have to play his friend, but also be his protector at the same time. So then I'm asking a bunch of questions like, oh, so where'd you meet this girl at school and this and that? And turns out he met this girl online while playing video games, Roblox, never talked to this girl in person or even on the mic, is just chatting with them. So, that brings up a lot of red flags. I'm like, this could potentially be a grown man trying to talk to a little child. And right now, we're kind of in the middle of it right now, where me, his dad, and my girl are trying to figure out who he's talking to. And it sucks because, this kid he's young, he's 8 years old, and he's super excited that he has a girlfriend. But in reality, like, he doesn't really have a girlfriend. And then once we find out, and we have to tell them if it is like an adult posing as a child, we have to break these things into him and let him know that there's people out there trying to harm him and harm other kids because of their innocence. And it's like, dude, you would have these conversations with your child at our generation when we were like 13 years old, even though we already knew a bunch of stuff, but we didn't have the internet like that. So nowadays you got to have these conversations when they're like 6, 7, 8 years old. It's crazy because what does a 6, 7, 8 year old know? Like, sure, they know a lot, but they also don't know anything. They're so innocent. They're so easily impressionable by anybody.
Yeah. They believe anything, honestly.
Yeah, they're super gullible, and it's scary, man. It's really scary. I went to church this weekend, and the pastor was literally talking just about that, and it was crazy because we're at church like, oh my God, like it feels like this message is for me, specifically handcrafted for me. And yeah, it's scary, dude, because even the pastor's talking about, which I mean, or I should say corn. The pastor was talking about corn, so we don't get demonetized here. And in our age, when we were young, how did we see corn? We didn't really see corn unless it was like on HBO late at night, and it was that soft corn. Usually we would find a magazine off somebody's house, or we would find a magazine that had a girl in bikini or something like that. She wasn't even naked, and that was the best thing ever. Nowadays you go on Google and you type in a keyword and hundreds of websites pop up. It's insane.
Yeah, or even on X. Like sometimes on X it just pops up like randomly, like out of nowhere. I'm like, what the
Real
hell?
randomly, yeah. Your algorithm knows what they're doing. They know what you like.
Nah. But like someone retweets it, someone that I follow retweets it, and then I'm like, what the fuck? Why am I seeing this right now? But
that's
yeah,
what you're gonna go with?
Yeah. The algorithm doesn't really know me.
Right.
But going back to the whole corn situation, I remember like seeing it for the first time, and I was just so mind blown because I went to take the trash out, and then I saw this bag. It was kind of like a little bit open, and I saw a bunch of magazines like kind of coming out of it, and I was like, what is that? Because I saw like, a bunch of people naked. I was like, what the heck? And then I flipped through the pages, and I saw it was like actual people, having intercourse, and I was like, God damn, this is crazy. And I took it home, and the rest is history.
I was about to say, there's no way you let that magazine get in that trash can.
No, I was very intrigued. But then, like, once I became older, I showed it to my friend Tyrell, who lived, like, upstairs. And he was intrigued as well, but he was already kind of, like, a veteran when it came to that. Like, he already had, like, tapes and DVDs and stuff. I'm like, bro, what? This is nuts. And then, like, sometimes we would even, like, it was me, him, and some other dude. I think his name was Adam. I forgot exactly. But we would just like pop that shit in the living room and just watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember doing that type of stuff with my friends as well. We'll be like in a group of 6 guys. 6 children, like 12-year-olds.
Yeah. We're like in freaking middle school, bro.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Oh,
and it's funny because like now as a parent, especially now that I have nieces and nephews that are a little bit older, they're like around the 6s, the 10s, the 12s, and they're going through some of that stuff. But we already know what's up, you know what I mean? Because we've done it probably worse than them because we had to find creative ways to do it. They just got an iPhone and they could go ham with an iPhone or on the internet with an iPad, We had to be creative with this stuff. And it's just crazy how much your hormones are raging at around that age of like 12, 13, 11. Insane, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get a bunch of little boys all together. They all have, I would like to hope that little girls are a little bit more naive to this stuff compared to boys. But I think little boys are just innately wild little beings, like free-spirited little beings.
Dude, just thinking back of like all the memories as like a kid, thinking that I was like getting away with it, but my parents knew what's up for sure. Like not that like what I was doing, but like just stuff, like even like I see Lily sometimes like trying to be slick doing something, and I'm like, that was so obvious. I could totally tell you're hiding that,
I mean, my son is, yes, he still is slick. He's 1.5, but it's usually like my nephews that I catch doing slick stuff. And most of the times I just pretend like I don't see it just so they don't think that I'm catching on to them. So I keep catching them per se. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, the kids are super unsneaky. What's the word I'm looking for? Like they don't know how to disguise things well. Like even the simplest things like a fart.
Oh my God. The other day, like a fart slipped out of me, and then Lily looked at me like, oh, and then she's like, Ning Ning, because like she calls herself Ning Ning, and then she's like, Ning Ning, and then she tried to fart, bro, and it was the funniest thing ever. She made this face like she was trying to force it out, bro. Like it cracked me up. I was like laughing, bro, so hard because like I never seen her do some shit like that.
That's another thing as a parent that now I understand because I'm a parent. Before, when I would see other parents look at their children and their children do the simplest thing and they're like, oh my God, oh, they're like so happy and they're smiling and they're laughing. I'm like, bro, what dumbass parents and a dumbass baby. Like that was the no dumbest thing. Like, yeah, like what are you guys so freaking happy about? And then now that you go through the journey and you realize what they're happy about, you're literally seeing this baby, this infant that can't even hold up their own head, to just seeing them develop slowly and slowly every day. They're picking up something new. Even if you don't teach them, they learn by watching you. Like, we didn't teach our son how to put Q-tips in his ears and clean his ears, but the other day he just grabbed the Q-tips, started putting it in his ear, and we're like, yo, that's crazy, you're a sponge.
Yeah, me and my wife be having a blast just like discussing all the new stuff that she's doing. Like, it's so fun. Like, and for other people it would be like no big deal, but for us it's like such a cherished moment, you know? Like, oh my god, I can't believe she did that for the first time, or said this. Like, because right now she's like in the mode of like literally like saying everything we're saying, like trying to say what we say, you know, certain words and stuff. I gotta be careful too, because like sometimes I say fuck, and then like the other day she like said it but like didn't really say it, and I was like, oh my god, I have to be like super careful now, because she's like picking up everything. But me and my wife, bro, we be having a blast just like seeing the development, and it's like I feel like it's not entertaining for anyone else other than us, because we've seen the progression, you know, we've seen like from the beginning. So it's like for us it's just like so rewarding seeing like her develop into this child, you know, which is crazy, because to me she's like a baby still, but she's not. She's a fucking kid, like running around saying stuff, like singing now. Like, she's starting singing like certain songs. I'm like, oh my god, bro, this is crazy. Time is flying.
And it's crazy because at this moment in time, you know, she's 2, and you already don't necessarily, like, she's still a baby, but you don't consider her a baby. But when you look back in 15 years, you're going to be like, wow, you were a baby at that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm making sure I record everything too, like on the camera, because, bro, like every month is like, she's like a whole new person. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you and your wife handle things when you disagree, like about parenting?
I think that's the hardest thing, because nobody really teaches you these things or really kind of talks about these things. Like, you vaguely talk about it, but it's very easy to talk about these things before you have a kid and vaguely talk about it when you're not upset. And then at the moment when you are upset and the other person's upset and you have your baby in front of you and you're lacking sleep, then it's a whole different type of emotions. But we're still navigating, I would say. We've gotten better for sure over time, but you know, there's just things that we don't necessarily agree on per se, especially even let's say different parenting styles per se, because I feel like we're similar in parenting styles, but obviously not everything's going to be the same. Just the fact that I'm a man and she's a woman is already a huge difference, you know? And especially for me in my case, because I would love to know what it's like to have a daughter, because I feel like I would be very different. But for me having a son, there are certain things that I'm going to be a little bit tougher on him about, you know? Like, he falls, I'm going to be like, you're good. It's okay. Get up. You know, with the baby girl, I might be a little bit more delicate with her. I might come up to her and be like, it's okay, baby. You know, like rub her knee if she scraped her knee or whatever the case may be. With my son, not that I don't do that. I do that if it's bad enough. But most of the time, 99% of the time, it's not bad enough. And if you feed into that, like, babying them, then they're going to be babies, because that's what he does with my girl. But with me, he doesn't really do that. And there's a lot of times where he'll slip, fall, hit something, hit his head, and then me and my girl like look at each other like, crap, here we go. And then he just goes about his day. And we're like, okay, all right.
Right.
You know?
I feel like if I had a boy, I would also be more tough on him. Just because, honestly, bro, like, life is tough I'm not saying that life is not tough for women, but like, bro, like, men gotta earn this shit, you know? Like, women can kind of coast if they marry right or whatnot, but for a man, bro, to like even like take rejections and like strive from that and be able to succeed and provide, bro, like, it's a whole different ball game. Like, a man, they need to like live, you know, play on a whole different level of life. Like, they need to toughen the fuck up. So I feel like if I do have a boy, like, I'm gonna treat him not way different, but I'm definitely not gonna be like that dad that I am with Lily, you know, where I'm like super caring and like, you know, be all lovey-dovey and I don't know, like maybe I can't really tell if I am or not, but I feel like having a boy is going to be way different than having a girl for sure.
Yeah, I think you'll have those moments that you're still lovey-dovey and you're still very caring, but there's going to be other moments where you're going to be tougher, because that's exactly what it is. I'm still very loving with him. I still kiss him a lot. You know, I bite him. He loves it. But when it's time to be a little bit tougher, I'm a little bit tougher, you know, where it's time where he's complaining about something where it's like, dude, you have no business complaining right now. You're just upset because you're upset, which is fine. You know, like babies get upset and they throw tantrums and stuff like that. And me personally, if I tried 2-3 different things and it's not working, I'm gonna be like, cool, go ahead and cry it out, and then maybe in 5 minutes we could talk again. My girl nowadays, she's kind of allowing that a little bit more, but before it was always like, no, I have to attend to him, like I have to do something. And I don't care. I'm like, let him cry. I think he needs to cry because he needs to learn. Because also you're teaching him that if any time that he's crying, you're trying to attend to him, then he's going to know, he's going to put 2 and 2 together. When I need your attention, I'm going to do this, which he kind of does do that, you know, and babies are naturally going to do that, even if you don't per se do that. But the more you feed into that, the more that they're going to do that. Just real quick, going back to what you said about men and women, you know, men have it a little bit tougher. I think it's different. I think women are very much based upon their looks. So if you're a good looking girl, you're going to have a lot more opportunity. If you're not a good looking girl, then you have everything stacked against you, because I feel like the world is a little bit harder for women. And you don't look good, like, which is the main thing where...
Yeah, but think about it. Like, even an ugly girl can get dick. It's not like that.
Yeah, but that's because
guys
guys will fuck anything. Guys will fuck anything.
Well, that's
that
what I'm
moves.
saying. But like a guy, he's gonna have to earn it. You know, he's gonna have to do something to earn it. A girl can like. I'm not saying like
sure.
that. It's not. I'm not saying it's not tough for them, or I'm not saying it's not tough for them. I'm just saying like
it's
like
different.
They can. Yeah, it's definitely different, bro. Like they can go through life and not necessarily have to earn it. But like I feel like the woman's purpose really is to like honestly just be happy and like live life, you know, just have fun. Like I feel like that's what girls are mostly about, is like having fun and being nourishing to your child or whatnot. But a guy,
well, that's
bro,
a traditional woman, I would say. Not the women of nowadays, especially with this whole feminism movement and stuff like that. Sure. I love that my girl wants to be a stay-at-home mom. She's still a go-getter. She still does her things and earns money as well. But for the most part, she's a stay-at-home mom. And that's what I always wanted. Because there are women out there that are way harder worker than guys, but I don't think that's good for the family nucleus. Like, the dad needs to be working, and the woman needs to be nurturing the children. Not always, like the roles could reverse at times, because there's been a lot of times where like my girl has to go work that day and my work is really from home, so I'm going to have to be the stay-at-home dad for the day or 2 or 3. You know what I mean? But at
the end of the day, it's like, it's also like the woman's choice, you know, to live that. Like, I feel like a guy, he's not gonna have a choice. He's gonna have to provide no matter what. Like, it's kind of hard for a guy to like stay at home. No, like, maybe I'm saying this shit wrong, but
no, I agree with you though. It's not as common, because there are stay-at-home dads, but it's definitely nowhere near as common as a stay-at-home mom.
Right. I don't know. Maybe I'm coming off a little sexist, but I just feel like
I get
a man needs to provide,
saying,
bro. Like a man needs to like step up and like strive for succession. You know, like that's like, even if you're like uncomfortable, like fuck it, go through it, you know, to get where you want to go. But like even like with Lily, you know, she wants something, go get her, you know, get her whatever she wants, like go buy that, you know. But if I had a boy, I'll be looking at him kind of differently, you know. I'll be like, not necessarily not gonna buy him anything, but I'm gonna be like, boy, you better earn this shit, like, you know, before I buy something for you. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about this wrong, but I feel like
Well, no,
women and
I think
men are
what you
different.
said is kind of what society has been traditionally like based
Yeah, no, some
upon.
people might hate what I'm saying right now, like the thought of a man
I mean, for
providing,
sure, there's
especially for feminists
for
and stuff.
sure. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of women that don't like that, but I feel like we're missing a lot of that in this world, in today's world. I feel like that's one of the reasons why our world is so crazy, you know, besides the fact that in a lot of communities the dad isn't home period, or the dad isn't in the life, and that's a huge thing, especially for boys and girls
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, for
But
girls as
not
well,
having the mom
especially
like be the
having
main
daddy issues.
caregiver. Yeah, exactly. But not having the mom being the main caregiver for the child, I think, I don't know, it's detrimental, because your child, if you're not teaching the child, somebody else is going to be teaching the child, you know? And in today's school system, especially living here in California, which is a whole other subject, I don't trust the
Hmm.
school system to raise my child. I want to be able to raise my child with my thoughts, you know, and my morals and values. And it differs a little bit from the community. So
Are you gonna
yeah, I don't know,
homeschool?
dude. I would love to, but I don't know, dude. Like, there's so many. That's the thing also about children. There's so many hard choices to make, dude. And
Yeah.
there's no right and there's no wrong decision. I mean, of course there's wrong decisions, but for the most part, it's like off rip when they're born, you get to choose, like, am I going to vaccinate my child or am I not going to vaccinate my child? That's already a huge thing, a huge thing from whichever perspective you're looking on. And then after that, you choose, oh, am I going to let my child watch TV, not watch TV? Am I going to let my child do this, that? And homeschooling, I think, is great because, again, you really get to hone in to your child's morals and values because you're kind of taking care of that. But at the same time, I think that the interaction that they have with other kids, especially when the parents aren't around, and them kind of getting into their own personality and all that, is super important as well. So ideally, I want to do both. I don't want to just do one. And I think I'll probably start off homeschooling and then eventually put them in school and then maybe go back to homeschooling. I don't know. I would like to try both though.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm interested in it, but I also agree with the whole having, them have their own time too. I think that's important. But I mean,
Yeah,
I
the
hear a
social
lot of
aspect.
stories where kids that are homeschooled, like they have other activities to do, like the parents do put them in other stuff, like,
Oh yeah.
karate, soccer, music, dancing, whatever. That
Yeah.
way they're able to, like, socialize and also develop that other side that's away from the parent.
Yeah, but even besides extracurricular activity, usually these homeschooling programs also have a time where the kids do all get together and they go on a field trip or they go to the park, almost like recess, like you have recess and you go have fun with the kids at the park. It's kind of the same thing for homeschool, because I've seen communities of kids getting homeschooled go all to a park during the day.
Yeah. What's the dumbest thing you believed in as a kid?
Dude, there's so many things. I mean, like, the most obvious and common ones are like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and all this stuff. But
Were you disappointed when you found out Santa ain't real?
I don't remember finding out Santa isn't real, to be honest with you.
Really?
Do you remember?
I do. Hell yeah, I do.
How did you find out?
My parents told me. It's like,
Really?
the stockings full of candy and stuff. I'm like, yeah. Well, that wasn't really Santa. It was us. And then, like, they told us that every year they would act like Santa came through, but it wasn't them. It wasn't him.
See,
But yeah, I got disappointed
I-
for a little bit, but got over it. But I still
Yeah, 'cause
think
you
about it till today.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, no, my mom definitely never sat down with me and told me that Santa isn't real. I think I just, with age and time and in school, because when you're in school, kids are like evil in their natural ways. So if one kid knows Santa isn't real and he knows that another kid thinks Santa's real, he's gonna ruin it for the other kid for sure.
So did you get back home like disappointed, like, Mom, you lied to me? What the hell?
Like I said, I don't really remember finding out when Santa wasn't real, so I can't tell you. But listening to what you said though, I kind of, because I would want to let my kid think that Santa is real per se, but also I want him to know that Santa comes around and gives you one mediocre gift. The people that are giving you real gifts is going to be mom and dad. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to buy a bad gift or a shitty gift and a good gift, a dope gift.
I wouldn't call it a bad gift. I'll just call it just a regular gift that you could get from like CVS or something like that. And I want to be that guy where I dress up as Santa Claus and I come in and give my kid like a present, or like at nighttime, like him and his mom are like watching to see Santa like sneak in the house and put presents under the tree and then run off. Like I want to do that because I remember my parents did that for me. I remember my dad would pay for a fake Santa Claus to come over during Christmas for like 20 minutes, just have me like sit on his lap and talk to him for a little bit. Sounds kind of creepy. And then he would leave. So I don't know. I like that. Those were like fond memories that I had. So I would like to do that for my children as well.
Wow, that's cool. Having a Santa Claus at your house? Usually I had to go to the mall for that.
Right. And then the other side of me also wants to dress up as Grinch and cause havoc in the house.
I've seen those videos where the parent acts like they're stealing all the gifts and stuff and the kids are freaking out. It's like so hilarious to watch.
Like it is, but like it must be a little fucked up for the child. Like it is a little bit traumatic, but I am going to reserve that. Meaning, if my kids per se are doing bad in school or something like that, I'm going to have to pull out the Grinch outfit and then steal all their gifts.
Yo, that would be hilarious. I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, the only way that I would do that is if we're having a big family Christmas and you're there as well, along with your daughter, and Larry's there with his kids, because I want to get all these kids all together at once.
I don't want to just bring trauma to my kid.
All of them.
Make it everyone get traumatized.
It's just funny because I want to see everybody's reaction. I think that'll be so funny.
Oh my God, that'll be so funny. But the kids would cry for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Like you know that. Like you know that you're doing something kind of fucked up, but you know that as an adult, you wield that power.
Yeah. But maybe we should just cut it right here and then continue on next week if it happens. I don't know. But it was a good test, good comeback. You know, just catching up. Maybe the next few episodes we can get deeper into certain subjects or whatnot.
Yeah,
or just,
I love getting deep.
Sure. I'm sure you do. But yeah. Anything else you want to say before we sign off?
I miss doing these. Like I feel like we plateaued towards the end of doing these consistently. But I do miss doing these. I guess it's also because we talk like once every like 2 to 3 weeks, but like on these we would talk every week, and I thought that was pretty dope too. You know, it's kind of like you get to catch up.
Yeah, I think that's the best part about it, honestly. It's just like being able to like communicate more frequently. But the reason why like I didn't want to continue before is just because like, oh my God, bro, it was so much time and effort putting into this, you know, that like I feel like now with like new tools, and like no return really, but like and we did like 60 episodes, like it was a lot. You know, and we're like just getting like a couple hundred views or on YouTube or whatnot. But I feel like now with YouTube, like these new AI tools, it's gonna make it a lot easier to like dish these out and and be able to like maybe spread it out a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, because I got into editing podcasts as well in the last year or so, and that just sucks, dude. Especially if you want to have something of like a clean, quality control, and then creating clips to promote it. That shit sucks, dude.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. That's why like usually people already have a following before starting it, but I've been like now with like the TikTok algorithm, bro, like a lot of new podcasts are getting discovered because of it. And I don't know. I feel like now with these new tools, we can create a lot more clips and be able to have a bigger chance of getting out there,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see. I mean, we're not sure if we're going to continue this, but it's definitely the plan. I think it's like is dope just to catch up and like have these conversations and even learn things from people that we bring on too. Like that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, for sure. I guess that's another aspect that's a little bit different, is just bringing new professionals in from different areas. I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just talk like the other day. I was walking out of the mall. Sorry, this is real quick. I was walking out of the mall I was walking out of Walmart, and the guy that checks your receipts when you walk out of Walmart?
Mm-hmm.
I just felt the urge of asking him a bunch of questions, but then I didn't. But then I'm like, yo, it would be actually really interesting to get a Walmart employee and talk about things, because I'm sure they see a lot of stuff. There's theft everywhere. I live in California, so it's really big. And those guys up front, I don't think they really do shit, because they're just there as, to me, what I see is they're there for like loss prevention or theft prevention. It's kind of like a barrier, like, oh, if there's a guy up front, I'm most likely not going to steal. You know what I mean? Because they don't do anything, bro. They just look at your ticket and you can have like 100 things. They put a little mark on it. And even if you don't have the mark, because there's been times where there isn't anybody up front and I go to return something, they don't look to see if there's a mark on it or not when you go return stuff. So it's just interesting. Any little profession could be so interesting.
Yeah. Costco do be checking though. Like they check
Costco actually does. You're right.
And all that. Yeah.
Yeah, Costco
but Walmart
does.
Don't give a fuck.
They don't give a shit. But like just learning like different random things. Like I recently I played basketball with a couple of people, and there's one of the guys there. I found out he was in prison for like 12 years. And bro, I just picked his brain for like 30 minutes and he was just explaining a bunch of stuff. I'm like, yo, this is so interesting.
That's crazy. Wow. I never actually talked to someone that was in prison for that long. That would be an interesting conversation for sure.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe I could get him for a future episode.
Yeah. Let's get these warmed up first and then we'll start having people on.
Yeah.
All right, guys. If you enjoyed this podcast, I think you could like leave a comment now on Spotify. So let us know, since we're back, or YouTube, leave a comment. Let us know. I think it would be more motivating if people are like actually, enjoying these and learning things and all that. So, yeah. Until next time, peace out.
Deuces.